Good afternoon, anti-novelists, friends, curious onlookers, and Lilligans. Welcome back to this episode of Zettelkasten for Fiction, where imagination finds order. Over the last couple of videos, we've talked a little bit about the protagonist, who's the hero, the main character of your story, and the antagonist, which serves as a bit of an obstacle or a road bump in that hero's journey or progress. So I want to break that down just a little bit further and get into some of the subcategories of those characters so that we can continue building out what I call in my book, Zettelkasten for Fiction, the key players in your story. So let's go check it out. This is it. I've got the full text of the book all printed out to date. So exciting. I cannot wait to get this into your hands. But let's go back over to... Here we go. Chapter 6. In Chapter 6, that is where I'm looking at and walking you through creating the major players in your book. Antagonist is some kind of obstacle. I've made some extra notes on my antagonist card to prevent or avoid the main character's plan. The antagonist is an actual agent of change. That's the key piece to understanding the difference between an antagonist and some of the other antagonistic forces that we're going to continue discussing as we go along. So your antagonist's goal is to cause your hero to avoid their plans and actions. They're trying to discourage that person from going down the road that that person has chosen. So they are an actual agent of change. So keep that in mind as we progress. The character I want to talk about today is the contagonist. Now, a contagonist can best be described not as an obstacle like an antagonist, but more of a minor hindrance. They represent temptation. They represent a fork in the progress of your main character's story and their journey, but they're not a hard fork. They are a soft obstacle, okay? So they're definitely not an adversary proper. There's nothing evil about them. They are simply a collection of character elements. This is where good character development comes in. I'm looking at you and your book, author Kathleen Spracklin, author of Writing with Emotion, collecting good, strong character traits, determining what points in your character circle those traits occupy, and then building out that character who is going to provide a good temptation or a good way of distracting that main character from their goals and plans. So if you start to think about how your protagonist, your antagonist, and your contagonist function together. Now we'll get to the villain later. Check out that finger play. Pretty cool, huh? The villain is over here. You haven't met the villain yet. But your protagonist, antagonist, and contagonist function in this dance. They function in a way that your protagonist has the main push, the main goal, the main journey through your story. Your antagonist and your contagonist represent two options as the author that you have of getting in the way of that journey. Think of some of the stories that you love. Often, the stories that we love the most are the stories that throw everything but the kitchen sink at that main character. They put them through the ringer with obstacles, challenges, failures, crisis, over and over and over. Now, does that mean that you have to have dead bodies and bombs blowing up and earthquakes and sharknadoes? No, it does not have to be high action drama. It just means that you're building that character's story by forcing them to either fail or face challenges from other characters or story points that show the reader who they are, that give the reader a reason to root for them, and that want the reader to propel themselves through that story to find out what happens in the end. That is how you put together a great story using these character elements. So you're using temptation and hindrance, and you're using obstacles and a push to get the main character to change their plans as a way to challenge them and keep the reader turning pages. So there you have it. That is a look at how you use your antagonist and your contagonist basically as guardrails, speed bumps, and obstacles to slow down and hinder your main character's progress through the narrative. So in the upcoming videos, I've got some more of these faceted details planned out for you, where we're going to look at a few more of these key players, talk about how to get your story best put together using those players. And then we're going to get into some specific kinds of stories, because there are lots of different kinds of fiction, independent of all of the world story structures that I'm going to walk you through in these later chapters. We're first going to talk about the basic accepted standard forms of fiction and what those look like and which ones might apply to you or appeal to your curiosity to try out. So I will leave you there for today. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers and everyone who's been following and supporting me. I so appreciate your encouragement, and I'm so proud to have you guys along with me on this journey. I cannot wait to get this book into your hands. It's coming along beautifully, just knocking it out. I have a super secret meeting tomorrow to discuss this very project. No spoilers, but fingers crossed it's going to yield excellent results. And I will post my next video on additional aspects of antagonists, and then we're going to tackle writing the villain. Mwahaha. So thank you as always. I will leave you there for today, and I will see you tomorrow.